Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. I'm so excited for today's video. I'm going to be having a meeting with Nick. He's the youngest entrepreneur that I know. So we're going to be talking about what it actually means to be your own boss, especially at such a young age, at 22. He came straight from high school to being his own boss, so to speak. So we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of actually being an entrepreneur and being a young entrepreneur. And is it really all that it's pumped out to be? Or how many hours does he actually put in? We're going to be finding out a lot more information from Nick and what it actually means to have been an entrepreneur without having gone through the corporate world, without having gotten a job from somebody else, and how he takes it. Because I've been there when I've tried to run my own business, but I only did it after I'd been employed, and then I went back to being employed for the benefits of actually being an employee. So I'm kind of like in the mix of both. So I feel like I bring a balance to it, but at the same time, I really want to know what it is like for somebody who's never really had a boss to report to, how they handle business and what it really means to be your own boss at 22. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the meeting with Nick now.
In life. These guys, they're getting it. This is what I want, right? So what I did something very crazy. I did something that most people would not do.
Hey, Nick.
Samantha, how have you been?
I've been good. So since the last time we were trying to do our video, I've been looking forward to this meeting ever since. And I am so excited. I literally just want to give the floor over to you.
Okay. So for starters, thank you very much, Samantha, for having me on this call. It's an absolute pleasure. I won't lie there. And it's been amazing as well, getting to watch and see you grow as well. I've known you for a very long time, right? So your journey has also been inspiration from me. I feel like you also have got a very powerful story that the whole world has to see and the world has to know about, right?
Thank you.
So thank you very much as well. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, and it's so amazing to have you say that I'm somebody who has inspired you, because you have also watched my journey as well. Right? We have been watching each other for a very long time. We've had a lot to learn from each other for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, being a young entrepreneur, actually, I can say sometimes you might feel like the Superman, right? But it's not always like that, unfortunately. What we show on social media, we choose what we show people on social media. We don't show people everything, right? We just show people the tip, the part of the iceberg that shows on the surface, but what's below the ocean, we do not show none of that stuff. Where the grinding goes, where the working hours goes, where the sacrifices are made, we don't show all of that stuff, right? So yeah, being an entrepreneur is an amazing thing, but the thing is, people need to, if you are coming to the into the entrepreneurial world, the mindset kind of shifts in a way of most people are normally used to the microwave mindset, whereby you're making your income through the process of getting paid with linear. It's more of like, I can say, linear income, right? Whereby you work today, you get paid by end of week, or you work today, you get paid by end of month. That's more of like getting paid. It's linear income, right? So when you're coming to the entrepreneurial world, you gotta change the mindset. You gotta let go of the microwave mindset. Why? Because in my industry, it takes about 4 years, right? On average, 4 years of consistency to start making a full-time income or to hit the top of the pinnacle. In the corporate world, the old traditional business, it takes something like about 8 to 10 years of serious hard work and consistency to get to the stage where you can say, I have made it. You get it? So you gotta be prepared to work for a very long time, sometimes for nothing actually, just to get your dreams. But the idea is more of like, I can say it's more of like, in my world, in the kind of business I do, it's more of like work hard for 4 years, crazy hard, right? So that you can have freedom, financial freedom for the rest of your life. In the corporate world, the old business, it's more of like work hard for 8, 10 years so that you can have freedom for the rest of your life. So
how
it's basically
You kind of cut off you said in the corporate world you need to work how many years?
8 to 10, that's the average.
You mean as an entrepreneur or as an employee?
As an entrepreneur. Employee is actually different. With employment, it's actually more of like you get to work for 40 years of your life, then get a pension if you have got a pension.
Okay.
With the entrepreneurial world, the sacrifice is different. You are sacrificing a number of years and put in concentrated amount of effort so that you can have financial freedom. So it's basically a sacrifice.
Okay.
Okay. So before we go too far, what is financial freedom?
Okay, financial freedom is it's kind of a stage where you get whereby you are saying like you have got you make more residual income that can supply all your residual bills, right? It's more like you get to a stage whereby you say, I don't have to worry about fuel, I don't have to worry about where I'm going to get my rent or my rental money. You have got all your residual income, can pay your residual bills fully without even thinking about it. My own personal definition of financial freedom, right? I believe that a person who's financial free makes 50,000 US dollars a month without lifting his head off a pillow, right? You need to have systems that work for you with or without you.
Okay.
Right? I remember the quote, I remember a quote by it must be Warren Buffett, who says, find a way to make money while you sleep or you work till you die, right? Rich people don't always work to get any income. They've got systems that work for them, whether they're there or not there. Yeah, so that's my definition of financial freedom.
Okay. I agree with you there, because even if you're making something or if you're selling something, you want to make it scalable. I remember I mentioned, like, I used to have a tailoring studio where I was making outfits and garments for people. And from that, the lesson that I learned is that even though you are making customized orders, you need to have other things on the side that people can come in and just like already buy just straight off the rack. Making your business scalable, because that means if you're not physically making something for someone right now, you actually don't have any other money coming in. So this is so true. I think I agree with you that no matter what you're doing, whether you are painting or designing t-shirts, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be able to make it scalable so that while you're sleeping, people can actually come. So let's say, for example, you are painting, record yourself while you're painting and then throw it on YouTube, and people will watch, like even for therapy or just to watch to learn how to paint. And while you're sleeping, people are watching your YouTube channel of you painting, and you can actually earn money from that. So you've actually made your skill scalable by not only painting and selling your paints, but also taking that skill and showing it to somebody else, and then getting, views and getting yourself monetized and actually getting paid, adverts being shown on your video while you're teaching other people to do the same.
That is a very powerful idea. I do agree that really is powerful.
Okay, so did you always know or want to be your own entrepreneur? How did you, or did you just stumble into this? What really happened?
I remember when I was from the time that I was even in primary school, right? Up to the time that I was in early high school, it's not more of like I really knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? It's not more of like I knew that when I grow up, I'm going to be an entrepreneur kind of stuff. No, I had no idea that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I'll be very straight up honest about that, right? But what happens is more of like I always had the desire, right, to have more than what employment can offer. You get the kind of thing, right?
Okay.
I come from a very educated background. I've got siblings, relatives. I've got my own parents are very educated, right? And I come from a background whereby my parents, they are managing a company, right? So it's more of like I can say I grew up a good lifestyle, but it's more of like that was the best of what employment could give, right? So I come from that background. So I remember I watched my parents when I was a little kid as we were growing up, and I was looking at their lifestyle, right? So my belief is I truly appreciate and I'm grateful for how I was raised. Employment has a limit. So I wanted something that employment could not give. So what happened was just after I finished my high school, I was literally confused, right? Like the journey that I was taking and what I had in mind, things that I had envisioned, my dreams and aspirations, I realized that my grades did not match up to where I wanted to be. Even if they did, still I wouldn't get where I wanted to get, right? I wanted that kind of lifestyle whereby, let's say you're making 100,000 US dollars a month. You get that thing. And if I was to be a doctor, even if I was to be a pilot, still I was never going to get there. You get it? So what happened is just after I finished my high school, I bumped into a group of guys that were building a company, right? And I saw the vision. And I saw guys who were part of the company that were making that kind of income that I dreamed of.
Okay.
So so simply how it works is I believe in the law of attraction, right? That is the secret. So I felt that the energy that you send out to the universe, the things that you think about on a daily, the things that you think about the most, it's more like they get drawn to you, right? There's a saying which goes on like opportunity will not come knocking at your door, but you have to go out there to look for it.
Okay.
Well, for me, unfortunately, I don't really believe in that. I feel like opportunity does come knocking at your door, but if you are looking for it, you will see it, right? If you're not looking for it, it comes and you won't even know that it was an opportunity. So I felt like opportunity came to my doorstep, and because I was looking for something that was similar, it's an idea that already I had in mind. So when I saw the opportunity, what I was more like, man, these guys, they make exactly what I want in life. These guys, they're getting it. This is what I want, right? So what I did something very crazy. I did something that most people would not do. For me, it's still crazy. Why? Because I went back home. I gave up on everything that I was doing because I knew that wasn't going to get me there, right? So I got on to start working with these guys. I did this very early as well. So I kind of adopted the entrepreneurship mindset very early. So that was it. That is how I got started with entrepreneurship.
You know, while you were speaking, it just reminded me of one saying that Oprah says. It says, I'm not sure if she says like luck, but it's like what she defines luck as is opportunity meeting preparedness. So you being prepared and then having that opportunity when you are prepared is kind of like how she defines what luck is. Because yeah, it's, you know, you have the momentum already because you're preparing for it, or at least in your case, you're saying that you kind of already thought about it before you met this opportunity, and kind of like you had a mental preparedness. You were kind of mentally ready for this opportunity when it did then knock on your door.
I remember there's a famous quote as well that I love, whereby my mentors always teach me, which is when your preparation, right, meets with God's timing, that magic moment there creates a spark, a fire that is called momentum. That is when everything else starts. So yeah, I truly believe in that very well.
Awesome. So Nick, you actually coming straight from high school and skipping that whole part of getting a job, it's not easy. I mean, from an African standpoint, some people, we have people watching from all over the world who may not understand that for us, or where we come from, it's not very supported. It's not very easy for you as a young person to decide like, hey dad, hey mom, thanks so much for taking me to school. I'm just going to take the risk of running my own show or having my own business or being an entrepreneur, as opposed to the natural thing of getting a job and proving to you that, you know, you did so well that I can get a job. How do you handle this, or how did it go for you to kind of like defy that natural progression of things coming from an African background where we actually have to go to school to get a job and move along that path?
Well, that's a very interesting question as well. So I'm gonna be very straight up honest about this, right? As much as you might try to pretend to the world to act as if like everything is a smooth flow, it really wasn't that easy at all, actually. So I love the aspect where I use the word advised, right? Yeah, we can use the word advised, but society does not really advise. It usually detects. It detects that you have to become what it already is, right? So plainly and practically, people need to understand from day one that being an entrepreneur or just doing something different, it doesn't matter what you're doing, just doing something different from what your background is doing, from what the society, your environment is doing, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a fight, right? It's more of like a plane. A plane does not take off with gravity, it takes off against gravity. That's why it's successful. All right. So you gotta understand, you gotta develop a mindset of, I can say, okay, so the more that you continue to do what everybody else is not doing, the more that you get what everybody else is not getting. Right? So for me, my belief is to be alive means to be a thermostat, not a thermometer, a thermostat. So let me further explain exactly what I mean by that. So when a rock experiences environmental effects like weathering, when it's hot, the rock expands. When it's cold, the rock contracts, right? Yeah. And then at the end, the rock breaks down. The rock is simply just reacting to what the environment is offering, what the environment has to say. It's how it was created. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, as human beings, I feel like we should be thermostats, not thermometers. We are alive, we've got a consciousness, we are aware. So instead of letting the environment detect what we have to do, to preconceive what we have to be, I feel like it should be vice versa. We are God's highest form of creation. We create worlds, we design things. It's up to us to detect what our environments have to be, we have to be the change that the world needs. So yes, it wasn't easy. It was a fight, right? But I understood that was a fight from day one because I probably, it's more of like it's the development that I'd been receiving, the books that I had read. So I kind of had, if you can see the problems that you're going to face in advance, it's easy for you to prepare for them because you know that adversity is coming, right?
Oh wow. Yeah, you just reminded me like a couple of months ago I actually did a video when I was talking about how to deal with change. And one of the ways to best adapt or deal with change is first of all you have to anticipate because there's no way you're either your life is going to get better or worse without something changing. So whatever it is that you are, whatever situation that you find yourself in, there's definitely going to be some change taking place. This really kind of is what you're echoing. And yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Yes, that's lovely. So so another thing as well that I'd love to add on as well is this can be advice as well for parents that have got kids. Because one thing that I've realized is as well, this can be also something that can inform children as well to help them wake up as well and to realize that they have to express what they have inside out to the world. Right? That's really what will make them truly successful. When you were born, you came with your own gifts, you came with your own talents. You're supposed to express those talents in order for you to feel fulfilled. So I remember I was watching an interview one time by Will Smith, and I learned something very powerful, which is a parenting style called it's called the Gardner flower or the flower Gardner concept of parenting, right? Whereby when a gardener is nurturing a flower, or let's just say any kind of a plant, when the gardener puts the seed into the soil, the seed already is going to be what God designed it to be. You do. Yes, the gardener does not preconceive.
Determine what the seed will be. Yeah.
Yes, there's a whole giant arrogance in that actually, in trying to make a lemon an orange or try to make a rose a lily. It doesn't work that way. Somebody's already who they were designed from day one. They already know where it's supposed to go. So I feel like our job as adults, our job as parents, we have got to guide our children, nurture their talents, something that they already have inside them, not to change where they have to go. Unfortunately, society has trained us in a way of whereby we put together a lion, a zebra, a snake, and a normal fish, something like a tuna, and we want all of these. We want all to climb the same tree. The leopard or the tiger will do the best, right? The fish won't. It's not its area.
Yeah, that's it.
Into the water. If you put the dolphin onto the water, then it will do its magic, right? So I feel like everybody has got where they belong. If you could focus on people's talents, what they have got inside, I feel like we can create a world whereby everybody's successful in their own field, not forcing everybody to take the same test to be successful in the same area. Unfortunately, I don't think people were designed that way in the first place, actually.
Okay, great. Yeah. I also had one of the things I want to hear from you is regarding this thing of going through the natural progression of things. I know I already mentioned that I went through being employed to trying to running my own business and then going back to employment. I feel that there's so many lessons that I've personally learned from that. From having been under somebody else's management, having to report to a supervisor, reporting to a managing director and all of this. So if I were to advise somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, the first thing I would say is definitely get a job and learn how to run a business. Look at the ins and outs, look at all the pieces of the puzzle, all the moving pieces, to learn from that. But you didn't have that, and you don't have that because you came straight from high school to being an entrepreneur. So I want to understand, do you feel like this is a handicap, or do you feel that, you're okay? And how do you actually handle this? Because you haven't gone through that natural progression of things.
Okay, so first thing is first. They say that for every rule, there's an exception, right? I actually learned that from you. It's okay, I actually learned that from you. For every rule, there's an exception, right? I don't know. I've never been employed before, so I can't know really from an employment perspective. But from my own perspective, I feel like I've got a slight advantage to me. Why? Because from day one, I've conditioned my mind into believing that the paycheck doesn't exist. I know it exists, but I train my mind into believing that it does not exist. So it's more like the scenario whereby if I don't get the job done, I don't get paid nothing. You get it? So I have to get the job done. You only sleep when the job is done. Those are the early days as well. That's how crazy it gets. So what I did was, in order to make that successful as well, so you gotta train your mind as well. You gotta do the meditation stuff. So you gotta train your subconscious mind in a way. So what I did was, I created enough reasons, right? Enough reasons that if I get to do this particular activity, it gets me where I want to be. And I've also written down, actually write this down. I have a journal, an entrepreneurship journal, and I write down the consequences of what would happen if I don't get the task done. So because I know the consequences and the results that can come from me doing it or not doing it, right? It forces my natural will to go and take action. So yeah, that's how it is. So in my head, I don't believe the paycheck exists. Yet for somebody who comes from an employment background, right, they want to do entrepreneurship, they're going to have to work hard to detach their mind from the paycheck.
Yeah.
Because if they fail, they'll bounce back to the paycheck. They know that there's an easy way out, right? And they might not end up reaching their maximum capacity because of that kind of thinking. In entrepreneurship, we have got a belief of whereby in school they punish you for failing, right?
Okay.
In entrepreneurship, you do it 1,000 times until it works. Let's look, for example, the guy who invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison, right? You do know that he failed over 1,000 times before he finally got it.
Yeah.
And what he says, he doesn't say that I failed 1,000 times. He said I simply found 1,000 ways that did not work, and I finally found what worked. So you gotta learn to fail as well. As crazy as this might sound, you need to learn to fail and not let it happen into you, but let it happen on you, and let's bounce off and keep going. Okay, so how it works is I believe both strategies they work differently, but they will both take you to the same destination if you stick strong with them, right? So yes, it's true actually. When you are an employee and then you're working to learn, and you're probably observing your boss, you're probably observing your manager, what they do, and you're trying to stick close to them to see the way they run things, right? And then you try to emulate what they did, it will work as well. If you have ever read Robert Kiyosaki's books, that's exactly what he's talking about. Like, be an employee, right? Work to learn and get to use those strategies as well on your own business. That will work as well, right? For me as well, it was different. Why? Because I started entrepreneurship, very early. So I kind of was trained in a different way. It still sharpens the rod, it still sharpens the sword, but I got a different training, I got a different mindset. The mindset that I got as well, which works as well, which is the second option as well that you can take, was from an early age, the mentors that I had that were coaching me, they kind of put it into my head of whereby you should only get trained and you should only listen to, pay attention to the people that have got what you want already, right? Don't focus on their results, focus on their journey. If it's their Instagram, don't focus on the current date, scroll down to the bottom, look at where they started and try to emulate the process. You cannot emulate the results, but you can only emulate the process, right? When a child is born, they are learning how to walk. What the child does is simply the child will observe somebody who's doing it better than them, and they're designed to emulate what they see. So what the child will do, what the baby will do is he or she, it will look at its mother, right, or its father. Then it sees its father or its mom walking. Then it also wants to do the same thing. But when it tries to take its first step, it's not going to work that way. It's going to fail. It's going to fall, definitely. That's guaranteed. But the baby is not going to reach a stage whereby it's going to say, I've tried 10, 20 times and I kept falling, so this doesn't work. No, the baby will continue falling probably 1,000 times, probably 2,000 falls, up until it takes its first steps, its first 2 steps. Then it will take as well probably a month before the baby can start and master the art of running as well. So the baby is naturally accustomed and understands that in order to learn, you gotta fail 1,000 times, but you keep going, you don't give up until you have mastered it, until you can do what the master is doing as well. Since the master is there, they're doing it, it means I can also get there as well. Yeah, so that's how I feel like people should continue to learn as well. Understand that failure is part of the process with learning, and you never get discouraged.
I want to get to the big thing now. Honestly, Nick.
Yes.
The hours, the working, the grinding, the hard part. Tell me about that. I really want you to go in detail. Like, a lot of people think getting in entrepreneurship or having your own business or being your own boss, guys, a lot of people honestly and genuinely feel like it's going to be easy, that you're going to start and you in a year you're going to be somewhere else, and you're talking about timelines that are like 4 to 8 years. This is like this is an indication. And even if we go through the business statistics, businesses fail, like 25 of businesses fail to actually go through the first year. And after they make it through that first year, 90% will not go after 5 years. So between the 1 year and 5 years, this is really where the game is played, and this is really where people fall by the wayside. And I really want to have it from you and hear from you. So young people and everybody hears it, tell me about the grinding. How do you work? What kind of hours are you working? And as being your own boss, because for me, what I love is that when I clock into my office, the aircraft, and when that flight lands and I'm done, I'm going home. It's now my time. Like, that's it. So that's actually the blessing and the best thing about being somebody else's employee is that you don't have to take the work home. For other jobs, you actually do. For being an employee, you actually do take your work home and come back to it. But I'm privileged enough to have a job that does not allow me to kind of bring the work home, and which is great and fantastic. But I want to know, like, really, what is it like working as your own boss, your own entrepreneur, being a young entrepreneur? What kind of hours, what kind of work are you doing? How is it really behind the scenes?
Well, so let's be straight on with this, right? We do not want to give the answers that they give you in seminars whereby they tell you that it's all sunshine and butterflies. Let's be real straight on with this one, right? Okay, so beautiful. So for me, my own true definition of an entrepreneur is that guy whereby you're driving late at night, right? It's something like, I can say it's something like 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're seeing a light bulb on in an office, right? And somebody's trying to master and get their craft done. That's the true definition of an entrepreneur. These guys, they don't rest until the work is done. You gotta have a vision, but most of all, you gotta have a mentor. You gotta have somebody who you are emulating, right? So, mind you, people also need to understand something as well, that the hard work happens during the early days.
Okay.
Once the job is done, it becomes working smart. That's the whole idea, right? If you work for the rest of your life and yet you've made the sacrifice of 4 years, then literally you've done nothing.
Okay.
The reason why these entrepreneurs are going all in, the successful ones, the reason why they first went all in their first 8 years, if we're talking about the corporate world, right, is because they're trying to create a system. They're trying to start up that momentum in a way of whereby once the momentum starts, right, they create a system. From there onwards, they're working smart. They're probably working on the beach or probably working from their own homes, right? Yeah. So literally, what I would say, the number of hours, for me personally, the number of hours is a tricky thing for me to say. The early days are a little bit of a fight. You gotta tackle those. You gotta be prepared to go to war. Go to war, get it done, then you can come and enjoy the heaven.
Okay, yeah, I kind of like what you said earlier, that, if you don't get the work done, you're not going to get paid. And that's just the thing, the driving force. When you are your own boss or an entrepreneur, you're not looking at 2 weeks like, oh, like for me, I'm already counting down. I know in 2 weeks my salary is coming, and I'm like looking for it, like, where is it? But but if you are your own boss, you don't have the privilege of, well, not yet, at least, like you said, early days of waiting, like, oh, okay, in 2 weeks the paycheck is coming. You have to put the work, because if you don't work, you don't get paid. And also reminds me, there is actually a scripture, the Bible says, he who does not work should not eat. Like, if you don't work, you don't eat. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that is true. That is true as well. And on the other note as well, something that I also felt like I needed to express and make the world truly understand as well is one of the biggest mistakes that young entrepreneurs, as well as the old entrepreneurs as well, make is the idea of being I don't know if I can use the term sole trader, or if I can use the term of mobile. I can say, okay, being your own boss, right? I feel like most people don't really understand how the term really functions. I've always believed in a concept whereby I call leveraging off of other people's efforts as well.
Could you repeat that?
Leveraging off of other people's efforts as well.
Okay.
Work with a team. Don't do it on your own, right? You don't have to be smart. You just have to work with smart people.
Thank you.
True business true business involves lawyers, right? Bankers, attorneys, and as said as it might be, I had to say it, but politicians too, right? They've got to be part of the game as well. You gotta work with smart people around you. It's more of like when you're playing football. Okay, in Africa, football means soccer, right? But in the outside world, football can also mean American football. So I mean that kind of American football, that rough game, right?
Yeah.
It's what we call rugby, right? Similar.
Yes, it's more like rugby, right? Yeah, but if you are going to a game of football, right, and you're standing on your own, and the other team has got a team of 12, 11, 15 people, they're going to stamp on you. It's not because the other team is not playing fair. No, it's because you're not really playing that smart. In business, you got to have a team that you work with. So this is one more spot, don't know. The true successful entrepreneur out there is not being a sole trader. They're not playing the game on their own.
Oh, I am so fired up with this. Thank you. I like this. Yeah, go on.
This is a very interesting topic, so you gotta listen to me right now. Hear me out. So the true entrepreneur is not playing the game on his own. Why? This is one more spot, don't know. I don't know if you've ever seen the cash flow quadrant. That's under the rich dad as well. The cash flow quadrant, whereby they talk about the 4 quadrants.
No.
You don't know. Okay, so we've got an employee in one box, right? We've got a business owner, entrepreneur, and on the last one, I think we've got an investor, something like that. With the cash flow quadrant as well, I also learned one important aspect as well, which is if you are a sole trader, you own a business. The thing is, what's happening right now is yes, it's a business, but it's more of like you have got more work than an employee. Why? Because you've got nobody managing the job for you. You get it? You don't have accountants doing the other work for you. You don't have employees sometimes outsourcing the other work for you, right? It's more of like it's a job that you own.
Okay.
So you're going to
own the job. Okay. Okay.
Yes, you're going to worry about the job management. You're going to worry about the taxes. You're going to worry about the law and all that. It's all on you, right? And the worst thing is worse. When you're a sole trader, you pay more tax than an employee can ever pay. So the true entrepreneurs out there, they're not playing that game at all, actually. In this modern day,
I just wanted to clarify. What you're saying is that most people who are going after being their own boss are actually kind of like just being sole traders. It's like they're just having a job, like they're giving themselves a job as opposed to actually giving themselves a business.
Yes, and they own the job as well. So the whole pressure falls on them and they quit instantly. They won't even last even a year.
Okay.
So you would be encouraging people to okay, I know you're talking about teams, but let's say you actually don't have a team, or that you're not, your business hasn't come to that place yet, so you would be recommending that people outsource or have people that they work with, somebody to do, let's say, like their photography, their designing, to do something, just to take off that workload off them, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes. Yeah, true. That's another way of looking at it as well. I wouldn't really want to get into the technicalities as well of how I do my own business. But where I come from is more of like get a team. I can say like you have got so many people that are willing to help you do that thing. So as an entrepreneur, I want you to probably only focus on the risk, on gathering up money, the accounts. Probably look for somebody who's willing to be an entrepreneur, who's an accountant. Look for somebody who's willing to, who's a lawyer, who's willing to do entrepreneurship, who would be handling the law for you. You gotta have a team. You gotta build a team. What I do for myself, right? This information that you're getting from me is not my own experience, all of it. No, I actually take in a lot of mentorship. Find somebody who has got what you have, what you want. Do what they do, say what they say, and you have what they have 100% of the time, right? So I remember I was listening to Rich Dad one other time as well, and he was talking about being able to start a corporation. And when you have a corporation, you are actually excused off of taxes.
Sorry to cut you off, but I think with the Rich Dad, when I was, what I understood it is a lot of these things are how they work in America. That's not really how it is in everywhere. That if you are a business owner, you're not going to be paying as many taxes as an employee. Isn't that an American system? Isn't that just limited to like a few countries? Because is it really something that's universal, that if you are an entrepreneur, you pay less taxes than an employee?
No, it is not universal. But the thing is, you gotta improvise with the market where you're coming from, right?
Okay.
Like for example, I'm reaching out to you from Africa, right? In Africa, already taxes are not really something that we really worry about a lot, right? So it also, on the other hand as well, it depends on the type of business as well that you're doing, right? Like, for example, we have got, there's more of like, there are certain types of businesses whereby I can say you buy an apple, right, for $1 and you sell it off for $2, and then you make a profit of $1, which is what you call capital gains, right? So with capital gains, you are exchanging, I can say, there's cash flows and government's money as well to do your transactions. So with capital gains, you get taxed as well, you get taxed ridiculously. In employment as well, you get taxed as well in a way of whereby you don't even know how much they tax you. Before the paycheck gets handed to you, the money is already withdrawn. Yes, but then we've got those entrepreneurs that are focusing more on passive residual income, whereby let's say you build a house today, right? Then you're collecting rental money from your tenants, right? That kind of income usually is never even taxed. In some countries, it is taxed, but minimally, something like at most even 3, 4, 5%.
Okay.
What you make, right? Like I'm coming from right now, I'm reaching out to you from Zambia, right? I think it was about 5 years ago, if not less than that, actually, they introduced a tax whereby they tax residual income as well, including rental homes. But that is new, but they tax so much little. It's little money that they're taxing, right? In countries like Zimbabwe, whereby which is lying following under the UK system, right, of its laws and the way they do things, you might actually escape tax if you're focusing more on residual income, which is, I can say, something like real estate.
Yeah.
That kind of income literally never taxes.
Taxed,
so literally passive income should never be taxed.
You were talking about, we've talked about a couple of books already. We've talked about Robert Kiyosaki's books. And I just wanted to hear from you. I know you've told me like you read quite a lot, like a book a week or something like this. How do you manage reading? Because trust me, even people who are not entrepreneurs are not reading as much as one book a month. How do you actually manage to read and then still have like all these things that you, like you're saying, like you're grinding and you're not going to rest until the work is done? How do you squeeze in like this reading culture into your everyday life?
Mainly, it first has to start with discipline, right? Like I know the consequences that will arise if I don't acquire the knowledge, right? So as crazy as this might sound, actually, did you know 90% of graduates, like off of a university, will not touch even a single book after the day they graduate? And with high school, over 60% of high school graduates will not touch a book after they leave high school. Did you know that? As crazy as it might seem, normally having this word is more like we're having somebody who's a 65-year-old with an 18-year-old brain. Why? Because they stopped learning. So during my early days as an entrepreneur, I learned one thing, which is you are never too young to teach and you're never too old to learn. You gotta stay in student mode.
Oh, I like
Why?
that.
The world is changing pretty quick now. It's no longer like what it was in the old days. We're now in the information age, right? Trends change within 5, 6 years. They say information doubles every 10 years. So it's not like the information that you learned in 1995 is wrong. No, it's become obsolete now. It will no longer apply in the modern day world. We've got technology, we've got AI, we've got machines replacing certain jobs that other people had. So you gotta still learning. You have left your so it's more of like don't read to get a qualification. No, you gotta read to get information that you can apply on a daily basis. So what I do is I go to my mentors, right? People that are making the money that I like, people that have got what I want. I learn from them. It's simple. Do what they do, say what they say, and you have exactly what they have. So I look for the books that they recommend, the books that they read as well, the books that are on their bookshelves. And I look at that as well. It's awesome to have a team, an organization where they can have access to these guys, right? So I look at them as well. I look at the books that they're reading, and then I get one book. I get the name. I go buy the book. Right? Books are so cheap, it's crazy. I go buy the book. A book is more of like 40 years of someone's life experience, and you're reading that within a week. It's crazy. Wow. It's amazing. It's very simple, actually. People don't know this, but the technique is in consistency. It's called compound interest. It's in consistency. So I learned this from Jim Quick as well. It's not really speed reading, no, But an average book has got something like about, I can say, 200 pages. That's an average personal development book. So get the book, read it for 45 minutes a day. Full focus, full concentration, nothing else, just focus on the book. 45 minutes a day, and in 7 days, it will be done. But you got to schedule it. You got to have a schedule. You got to be disciplined. Know that this time, 45 minutes, I'm reading this book. And it's that simple. It's literally that simple.
Just the distractions of the phone and the, like the moment you open the book, but as you're saying, you know what, it's a discipline and you just have to get it done. And I'm inspired, and I'm gonna take that up as well. I think I have one more thing. Anyway, you were talking about personal development. I know that you do some coaching and some training, so I'm gonna be leaving a link for you guys to some personal development training and coaching, that if you want to get involved in that, I'm going to be leaving the link for you in the description box below, that you can actually just go check it out. Really, if you do want to be an entrepreneur, as Nick is saying, learn from the people who are doing the very thing that you want to be doing. And you're never too young to teach or too old to learn. So whatever age you're at, wherever you are in your life, it's going to be great for you to be participating in these developmental classes. And as Nick has said as well, like, we're in an information age, a technology age. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home to participate in these webinars, seminars. So I'm just going to be leaving a link for you in the description box if you want to be checking that out as well. So before we wrap it up, I just want to know really, like, how your money strategy, when you make your money, do you spend what you earn? What percentage of what you earn do you actually go and put into savings? How are you rationing your money? How are you spending your money as a young entrepreneur when your money comes in?
Oh, I love the questions. I love the questions that you had for me. It's crazy. Okay, getting money can be something that is easy, but what to do once you get the money is something that is very important as well for survival in the entrepreneurship world. When you make money, 10% of that money that I've made, the profits, literally, specifically the profits, I give away 10% to people that need my help, right? It's more of like, it's a law of attraction thing. When you give out to the world, you will get in return, right? The universe always pay you back. You have got two hands, one to give, one to receive. The moment that you want to take with both hands, you've already lost the game. Even if your business is small, that you're making something like $20 a month, you still gotta give off that 20%. 10% I save. I save 10%, I give away 10%. Then the remaining 80%, what I do with it, that determines where I'm going to be 5-10 years from now. I plug it back into my business. Most times, actually, because my business is still young, I take most of that money to personal development as well. They say feed what's up there, and your mind will feed your pocket as well. Your mind determines where you stay, determines how much money you make, determines the car you drive. So you have got to invest a lot of money into your head to master everything that we've talked about today, to master what's about to come. Just keep on track with current trends. Yeah. So plainly, that's kind of my compass. That's kind of how I handle my money.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about this forever, but I know you gotta go. So I've got one last question for you, Nick. If there are two things, if you have two pieces of advice that you could give to any young entrepreneur out there, or any entrepreneur, anybody who's looking to get into entrepreneurship, what would they be? Just two things.
You don't have to start your own company in order to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
You can simply join a movement and be a partnership. And you are successful either way. Okay, you have got to give away all the pride of being like, I can say, the Steve Jobs or the Bill Gates to your Microsoft. You can help build an existing brand as well. And you can make millions off from that. And you are as well a successful entrepreneur. The second advice that I'd love to give entrepreneurs as well, which is very important, is start small. Right?
Ooh. I love this. You know what? I love this. This is exactly, I did a whole video. I'm going to leave it linked in the cards and in the description box, guys. I talked about this. This was like one of my biggest lessons from when I started to do my own business. Like, this was the one thing. I was like, start small and don't violate the principles of the natural principles of growth. Because even as a seed, they seed, time, and harvest. Like, This, and oh my goodness, guys, this is why people are falling prey to Ponzi schemes and these get rich quick schemes. It's because we're not patient enough to actually start small and to see some growth. We want it, like you said, the microwave. We want it right now. We want it so quickly, and it just doesn't work, because ultimately you hurt yourself. Anyway, sorry to cut you off, Nick. Go on.
Yeah. So the start small. So like I said earlier on, remember, like when you go onto the Instagram of somebody who's very successful, don't look at what they currently have. Don't try to emulate the results that they currently have. You gotta scroll down, man. You gotta look at where they started off from. Now, when you look at people who became icons in the world, for example, people like Steve Jobs, like that's Apple, right? And look at where they started off of. It's a garage. Same thing with Microsoft. If you see where Amazon started off from, it's insane. Like right now, Jeff Bezos is literally the richest guy on earth, and he started off from an office that was half the size of my bedroom that I currently have right now. If you look at guys like Jack Ma, Alibaba,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can call that an office where they started off from. These guys, they all started small. But unfortunately, the current modern day entrepreneur, what they do is before they even start making profits, they want to get an office in town, a very prestigious office. They go buy, I can say, 20 computers for their employees who they don't even have yet. They buy a company car, then they print on it. They print the company logo, the company name on the car. They go hire lawyers that are on standby. They invest so much money into assets that they don't even yet need, that they don't even have capacity to even manage. Then the business starts. Then you happen to realize that the battlefield is not really exactly what you planned. And then you have already invested everything that you had. It becomes a loss on your end as well. Yeah. It's not because entrepreneurship doesn't work, it's because you're not really playing smart. You got to emulate what the rich guys did from the day one they started. Don't copy somebody else's stage 54 when you're on stage one. You got to start from stage one up until you got to climb the stairs one after the other, right? You don't just jump. It doesn't work like an elevator, unfortunately.
Wow.
It's the stairs. You got to check the stairs.
I made all these mistakes. This is exactly what I did. Like, I got an expensive rental place. I got customized furniture. Guys, if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to be linking it for you, so you really learn like the importance of starting small. I could not echo your sentiments anymore. Like, I totally agree with you.
We really don't have limitations as human beings. Like, remember, we are God's highest form of creation. We've got a consciousness, we've got an awareness. There's no limit on how creative we can get. There's no limit on how successful we can get. That's only determined by the way you think, by your mindset. Get the job done, because if you don't get the job done, you don't get paid anything, right?
Yeah.
Employment, on the other hand, it can train you to be very lazy if you're not careful as well, because you can get paid for doing nothing.
As long as you show up. Like, sometimes as an employee, you're just getting paid to show up. It's so true. It's so true. Awesome, Nick. I've really enjoyed this time with you, and thank you so much for just being here and sharing in your wisdom. So, guys,
Really fantastic.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, this is really fantastic. Thank you so much, Nick, for showing up and for sharing in your wisdom and all your experiences. Guys, if you want to know more, leave your questions, thoughts, and feedback in the comment section below. I always look forward to hearing from you. Nick will also help me to answer any questions that you might have. And don't forget that we'll be leaving for you a link to some training and personal development in the description box. You can check that out if you want to further develop your mind. As Nick said, it all starts here. Educate your mind, and you'll just flow through. I really look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like the video if you've liked it, and I will see you on the next one.